Imagine being able to predict which of your top talents is about to leave before they have even updated their LinkedIn profile. That's not science fiction, that's data driven HR. Welcome back to HR Tech Unplugged, episode number 5, Data Driven HR Turning Insights into Impact, the show where we decode HR technology with a little less jargon and a lot more human. I am Gurpreet, and today we are diving into something that's revolutionizing decision making across boardrooms, data driven HR. And with me, as always, is a strategy compass, the man who turns dashboards into decisions, Anuj Kathuria.
Thank you, Gurpreet. This one's very close to my heart for a number of reasons. The most important being for decades, and I literally mean it for decades, we, that is HR, has been seen as timid and soft. Now, with the right data, we have become and are becoming the strongest voice at the table. And for that matter of fact, in many cases, we own the table.
Great. Anuj, let's start at the top. Why is data driven HR no longer a nice to have?
Well, that's a very good question. Nice to have. It's a very nice term, actually. The fact of the matter is, because intuition or gut is not strategy,
Correct.
unfortunately. If that had been, you know, anything could have been possible.
Right.
We are living in a world where novelties of morning turn obsolete by the evening. Let's give an HR flavor to this terminology.
Sure.
We are living in a world where skills become obsolete in about 18 to 24 months. We are living in a world where attrition is silent until it's too late. We are living in a world where employee engagement can tank overnight.
Right.
And guess what? It's only data. And believe me, it's only data that gives HR the foresight to act instead of react. The operating word being act instead of react. Because it helps us in hiring the right talent, spotting burnout pretty easy in the cycle, creating personalized and hyper-contextualized employee experience and learning journeys, and for that matter of fact, driving equity, inclusion, and fairness. If you look at the entire employee life cycle, from the standpoint somebody is a potential candidate till the time he or she becomes an alum of the organization, it is data that plays today the most crucial role. And it is that data itself which helps drive most critical decisions in the organizations. Let me share a quick story about this. I recall a while back, an organization requested my services for consulting and advisory. And they were struggling with unexplained attrition. Now, when I dug deep into, what exactly do they mean by unexplained attrition? They said that most of their attrition is about exits in year 2 or 2.5 of employment. And their gut said it's market forces, it's compensation, basic reasons. So they tried to tackle the problem by, implementing certain retention strategies, implementing long-term incentives, all those things. Worked for about a quarter, but again, it was back to square one. And that's when they had summoned my services. I wanted to get the entire story. So I requested them for data on performance, on learning and talent interventions, who participated, who didn't participate, data about internal mobility, if they had internal talent marketplace, their own IJPs, their pulse survey insights, insights from their employee engagement surveys, which they've done for last 2 years. And lo behold, we found a pattern. Okay. Now, most of the exits were from high performers in the organization. Now, they were right in the gut feel that yes, it's compensation. That could be one of the reasons. But you'll be surprised to know what was the real reason. They were high performers who had very low learning activity and had zero recognition. And they were the ones who were leaving. And we created something called as a burnout risk index. Okay. And by virtue of that, we were able to figure out the likelihood of people leaving. And then started nudging the respective supervisors, the respective managers to recognize, upskill, and implement personalized learning paths for each and every high performer, not just the ones who are struggling, but every single person in the organization, and reassign those employees to better roles, from a standpoint of job shadowing or deputation or things. We did that for a period of about 4 months. Okay. And the voluntary attrition, believe you me, dropped by about 16 to 17% in 3 quarters immediately after implementing this. So what happened over there? It was data that helped us identify a pattern, which normally we wouldn't have been able to do. We would have relied upon what we call our experience. Oh, this is compensation, or this is, competition eating into our stuff. But the reality was something very different. So there we go.
Wow. That's a very big impact, and attrition definitely is a big pain point for many organizations. So, definitely, that's a real business value. Now, let's talk about numbers. For someone who's beginning this journey, what are the core metrics HR leaders must focus on?
Well, that's a great question. If you would ask any HR leader, uh, I'm sure they would come up with over 100 metrics. Okay. None of those are wrong. But I sincerely believe in two fundamentals before I come with those metrics. It's good to have metrics. The problem is, does your CEO or CFO understand those metrics?
Absolutely.
Do they talk the same language? Does it make sense to them? Or is it Greek and Latin to them? Excuse me. Now, with that in mind, I call them the vital eight.
Okay.
Why I call them the vital eight? Because I have always been able to link them to HR drivers and link those drivers to certain business KPIs or business matrix. So there we go. Number one, time to hire. What's your average time to hire? Number two, quality of hire. Number three, your employee engagement index. Number four, your learning agility score. Number five, your internal talent mobility ratio. Number five, your attrition rate and the flight risk index. Number seven, your diversity index across career levels. Number eight, your manager effectiveness score. Now, these eight very specifically give you a 360-degree view of talent health, learning velocity, and leadership capability in the organization.
Great. I just love that. The vital eight. Simple and powerful. Now let's get a little practical here. What's your advice for someone starting from scratch?
Whoa, that's a tough one. Okay. Well, I would say it's a three-step approach with certain sub-steps.
Okay.
Number one, as they say, garbage in, garbage out. That's a very true philosophy whenever you talk about data. So, step number one, organize your data. Now, what do I mean by organize your data? You need to have only single source of truth. All right. So centralize your employee master data for the organization. It should not reside in 20 different places. It needs to be at one single place where it gets updated. All the other files draw from there. Now, whether you do it depending on the maturity index, whether you have a HRIS or you use an Excel or whatever you do, it has to be a single source of truth. So centralize that. Number two, clean up historical records. And number three, use consistency in formats. I'll tell you what that means. Many a times, certain fields are left blank. The format of the same data is going to be different across different cells, right? In certain cells, the decimal value is up to 2 points. In certain, it's up to 3 points. In some, it's not there. Right. So please ensure that the formatting rules are similar across board and you don't have unnecessary blanks in the data. That's called clean data. So now step number one is organize your data. Step number two, which is my favorite, is the question why. Why do you want to do it? Right? Yeah. So you need to ask your business three questions or identify three business imperatives from the standpoint as why is your talent leaving the organization? I'm giving some examples. Right. Okay. Uh, why is the Gen Z or the millennials not engaged in the organization? Example. Or for that matter of fact, why is the engagement score of one persona of employees different than the other? Right. Uh, and the most important one I would say I always ask is where is the skill gap today with respect to our 12-month roadmap? Not the HR roadmap, the business roadmap. So that's step number two, which is identify the top three business priorities or question as to why do you want to walk this path. Number three is build simple dashboards. You can use tools like Power BI or Tableau, or for that matter of fact, even Google spreadsheets to start visualizing trends and pair every metric with a narrative. Numbers alone don't drive change. Your numbers need to speak to each other. You need to figure out the story those are telling. And then that story needs to link to your business outcomes. Else, uh, it's as useless as the term AY in the word okay. So let me give an example over here. A couple of years back, someone I know was struggling to get approval for a wellness initiative in the organization. Okay. And tried for about a month, 2 months, and tried multiple different techniques. And this is a very senior level HR person. And one fine day, uh, during a conversation, she discussed this with me and showed the entire pitch deck and everything. And believe me, that was the best I've ever seen when it comes to the concept, when it comes to structure, when it comes to design. The problem is it did not link to the business matrix. See, business doesn't talk your language. Right. Right. And let's agree, how many of us, though we call ourselves HR business partners, strategic HR leaders, how many of us truly understand uh, the true essence of EBITDA, return on capital employed, churn? How many of us are actually able to link those to HR initiatives? If your CEO has to, or if you heard your CEO that, our revenue this quarter is struggling. How many of us can really drill it down to figure out what kind of HR initiatives do we need to do to ensure that happens? I'm sure not more than 10% across the world. That's what my research and even the research from Gartner and other publications talk about. So I helped her. I just asked her that, can you link this to the language and put it in a story format
Mm-hmm.
which the business understands.
Okay.
Because you speak Greek, they speak Latin, right?
Mm-hmm.
All she did was reorchestrate the language now to say that we had 257 unaccounted for leaves in the last quarter from our employee base.
Okay.
And these leaves, since they were unaccounted for, actually led to 14% productivity loss, which could have helped us earn $1.7 million revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this initiative, which I'm trying to drive, is in the endeavor to ensure that we do not lose that $1.7 million or close to that figure in the forthcoming quarter, and we have a track on things. It took them about 20 minutes to approve that initiative.
So all that she did
And
was
they drove it.
right, just change it into a business
Narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, it's not about, see, having data is not a problem. You can get data from across the world of your organization.
How you put it
How
forward.
you clean data,
Mm-hmm.
organize data, and then trends and the story, the insight the data tells.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important.
Great,
Right?
great. Yeah, so that was very crisp and precise answer, Anuj. But I'm sure there are going to be traps and pitfalls here as well. So what should people actually avoid?
Well, you know, just don't talk HR language when you talk to business. Try to translate that into business language. See if you can. I think that's the underlying principle, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that, then couple of things. Number one, I call it too much too soon. So don't be greedy. If you just kick-started, don't expect to go from zero to predictive or prescriptive analytics in a month. It's a journey. You're going to take time.
Go slow.
Go slow. Steady one path and then go to the other one. Number two, data without context. I said matrix without business alignment is noise. Like I said earlier, as useless as the letters AY in the word okay. Okay, that matrix only makes sense to you, nobody else in the business. Don't do it. And for that matter of fact, I would say even if you already have existing matrix, just see how are they actually contributing to your organization's top 5 business matrix. Okay. Or what keeps your CFO and CEO awake at night? What are those matrices? If any initiative or any matrix is not helping in that direction, please chuck it out. Throw it in the garbage can right away. Not needed. Do yourself a favor. Number three, dashboards are not equal to decisions. All right. Dashboards are post-mortem analysis of what has happened. They don't tell you why it happened.
Right, right.
Right? Insights are useless if they don't lead to any actionable conversations. It's a journey, right? So when you look at data journey from a analytics standpoint, there are two different categories, right? You have dashboards, which we typically call as post-mortem analysis, which is your descriptive element. So you go from descriptive to diagnostic to predictive to prescriptive. That's one layer. Another school of thought lays it on in a very simple manner. Dashboards are hindsight, what's happened, right? From hindsight, you derive insights, and from insights, you derive foresight. So it could be hindsight analytics, then to insight analytics, and then to foresight analytics. But to do that, it's a journey. Don't think that you have a dashboard, it's going to help you make a decision. I'm sorry, friends, that's happened in the past. That's just telling you what happened. It's not telling you why it happened. You need to get to the root cause. Marry data, figure out the root cause, and then take a wise, informed decision. Hence, dashboards are not equal to decisions. Please understand that. Yeah.
That's a good food for the thought. So Let's talk about a little bit on the future of HR analytics, right? Where is all of this going? What's the future of data driven HR?
Future, well, it's very difficult to predict. But I mean, as I said, novelties of morning are becoming obsolete by the evening. But I'll still make the blunder of trying to make some prediction over here. And this is based on what I've seen. It's already happening in many parts of the world. Some of it is a lived reality across millions of workers. Some are working to arrive at that junction, and some will in the next maybe 24 months to 26 months. Yeah. I call it hyper personalization plus hyper contextualization plus intelligence. And that's going to be predictive intelligence. What I mean by that is that, artificial intelligence will recommend roles, skills, and mentors dynamically. And it's already happening in many parts of the world. Pulse analytics will sense disengagement in real time instead of annual employment survey or quarterly pulse checks. Diversity, equity, inclusion gaps will be spotted immediately at the time of hiring and promotion stages. And there are multitudes of certain things. I would say the most important element is HR is moving from reporting the past to shaping the future. It has moved in many cases, and in many cases, in many countries, depending on the organization maturity, HR is slowly trending towards moving in that direction. And that's the benefit of data driven HR.
And that, in fact, is a very powerful shift, right? And I hope today's episode helps more HR folks realize that data isn't just for finance or marketing, it's our friend too.
Well, exactly. You shouldn't fear the numbers. You don't need to mug up the numbers. You need to embrace the story they are telling, and you need to tie that story to your business align, business strategy and business alignment. If your story is not business aligned, it's fiction. It's a concoction of your head. You might believe it, nobody else will. That's why it said data driven HR. So don't fear the numbers, love them.
Cool. So, friends, we are building a free data driven HR toolkit with templates, dashboards, and top 10 metrics you can implement right away. DM us on LinkedIn or visit our website to get access to that.
And if you're enjoying our series, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave your reviews. Help us spread the HR technology love. Do visit our website www.ascendara.org or write to us for consultation or advisory. We are just a phone call away or an email away.
Right. And next week, we are closing this series with a bang. The next episode is going to be on building digital first HR capabilities. That's going to talk about skills, structures, and systems. So don't miss it. That's all that we have for today in this episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a great day ahead. See you soon.